Hi and welcome to Real Reviews. My name's Martin Carr and today I'm going to be talking about The Fall of the House of Usher, which is currently doing the rounds on Netflix and stars Bruce Greenwood, Mary McDonald, Carla Gugino and Mark Hamill. So let's get into it, shall we? So this is obviously the third effort from writer-director Mike Flanagan after the success of Midnight Mass and also the Haunting of Hill House. So what you had with those two particular series was this, this sort of building of a foundation in terms of a new approach to Gothic horror. It had decent storylines, there were decent twists, there were good characters in there, and it gave him a stamp of authority. So what we have with The Fall of the House of Usher is obviously the link back to Edgar Allan Poe, because each of these episodes is sort of rubber stamped by a Poe short story title. So you've got The Mask of the Red Death, you've got The Black Cat, you have The Telltale Heart, and obviously the Fall of the House of Usher itself. You have Roderick Usher, who is the patriarch, played by Bruce Greenwood, who people remember playing Captain Christopher Pike from the first Star Trek. You've got Mary McDonald playing Madeline Usher, his other half, I believe, in this, or sister. I can't quite remember. But she was obviously the first lady in Independence Day as well, the first and the better of the two Independence Day films. You've also got Henry Thomas in there playing Frederick Usher. And Henry Thomas, for people who can go back that far, can remember him being Elliot in E.T. So you've got all of these links, as well as having Mark Hamill there with the Star Wars link, playing Arthur Pym, who's sort of like this overbearing Grim Reaper type family lawyer. And the Ushers are a pharmaceutical company, so you've got a throwback to the real life Sackler family who created OxyContin. And started, or have been sued for creating or being spearheading the opioid epidemic. So the Ushers they're in charge of a pharmaceutical company. So Flanagan is trying to give them relevance whilst tying back threads through the Edgar Allan Poe stories. So you do get some really good atmospherics. You get some good back and forth stuff. In terms of interrogation, because you have Carl Lumley's detective opposite Bruce Greenwood in certain scenes throughout, and there's a good sense of horror, and you get a lot of backstory. And each of the family members, each of the children have passed away in gruesome ways. So ultimately, that is, and the responsibility and the culpability and all the other bits and pieces which tie into this storyline. And the question is, how good is it? So I'm going to jump into that next. So there have been, in terms of the reviews, in terms of what people think of this show, it seems to be universal praise, which is following a trend. Now, I'm not going to say that this is a brilliant show, because it's just my opinion, but I don't think it is particularly. I think it tells a very good story. I think it has some good characters in there. And there are payoffs and there are gruesome deaths, and you get a certain degree of horror, and there are some jump scares and there's some twists and so on and so forth. And the acting is really good. But the thing is, this is jumping on the Succession bandwagon in terms of Succession no longer exists. That's stopped. Great show. And there is that sense that this might be trying to plug that gap, even in the sense of it being a limited series. And Bruce Greenwood is really engaging, and he is really sort of, he is the father figure to end all father figures. Mark Hamill does a really excellent job as Arthur Pym, I think. And the ensemble cast who represent and play the children and their significant or otherwise others are also really, really good. But there's an indifference which creeps in, at least it crept in for me when it came to watching The Fall of the House of Usher, where there was, for whatever reason, it didn't grip as much as maybe Midnight Mass and The Haunting of Hill House did. And I'm not saying that it's not a great show. It's not a good show, but it just left me a little bit indifferent, to be fair, you know. And having trawled through X amount of hours of the show, which were all really good, it just didn't feel, it didn't engage me as much as I thought it was going to. So because of that, I'm slightly underwhelmed by it. I think ultimately that's what it comes down to for me. So it's not as great as I was expecting it to be, if that makes sense. If anything, maybe we could call it average to above average, just about. So on that note, I'm going to move on to my rating. Let's do that. Right, at the risk of sounding controversial, I'm going to give this a 3.5. I can't do half a finger. There we go. 3.5 out of 5. Because it's not quite 4, and it's not quite an average show, but it's literally somewhere in the middle for me. And it doesn't come down to any one specific thing that I can go, do you know what, it's that. Because it's not the case. I simply, you know, I watched it, I was anticipating a great deal more. I enjoyed Bodies, which is on Netflix now, a lot more than I enjoyed The Fall of the House of Usher, which is, you know, it's personal taste, it's personal preference. This is all this is. It is an opinion, and it's mine. So, you know, this isn't like, you know, Flaming Torches at Dawn or whatever it happens to be. You know, this is just what it is. So for me, for The Fall of the House of Usher, I'm going to give it a 3.5. It's the first time I've given it anything a half rating, and I'm just going to move along, jump right into that trailer, and let's just draw a discreet veil, shall we? Let's do that. So this is the part where I go, if you've liked the video, then like the video, give me a thumbs up. If you want to drop a comment in the comment boxes below, then you can do that too, and I will respond, I promise I will. And finally, if you'd like to subscribe, then you can do that. Just click the button, and every Tuesday and every Saturday when I drop another one of these videos, you can watch or listen to as much as you want, and then go about your day. So until next time, make sure to check out the rest of the content, and remember, there are some London Film Festival reviews coming as well. So take care, talk soon.